Good afternoon and welcome to All United. I'm joined by John Foster today. How are you, John?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you. And today, something a bit different today. We're actually going to be broadcasting this on the main account, which is usually followed by the men's team viewers and fans. So just to give everyone a bit of an update what's going on for this midday show. Me and Anthony do this show all the time on the WFC account, the sister channel to All United, and we give our predictions for the upcoming game. That could be Man United predictions, but also the other matches that's going on. And Anthony's absolutely smashing me this season. He's pretty much getting a hell of a lot right. Anthony, just give a bit of a background about yourself regarding Man United supporter, just so everyone who doesn't know you actually knows a bit about your background and why you host the show every week on the women's team's channel.
Yeah, cheers, John. Yeah, no, basically my background, I've come over from the men's. I've always been a men's United fan, and it was great when the women's decided to bring their team back. Previously, before the women's team had came back, I did watch my local team, Brighton, a few times when they were in the lower division before United came up. So I did get into women's football slightly a bit before, but not really much longer before United announced that they were going to have a team. But there's only one team for me, and that's United men and women, all as one. Follow the youth and all things United.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's basically me. Been there since the glory days, and now it's the women. Hopefully, they seem to be giving us a few more glory days than the men at the moment, but it is what it is, isn't it, John?
Well, it's been a great 4 years. If you're a supporter of our women's team, we got promoted in our first season, got straight up to fourth in the highest tier in the second season, maintained it in the third season, and now we're pushing for that top three spot this season. So there's been a lot to cheer about if you're a supporter of our women's team so far. But the reason why we're obviously doing this show on the main account today is because of the upcoming game this Sunday, March 27th. It's being playing at Old Trafford. So this is the first time that our women's team have played at Old Trafford in front of fans, which happened during COVID. But of course, no fans were allowed. I think it might have been 2-0 that day. I remember Christian Festival were in, and I'm sure Lauren James did as well. So, but obviously not the same without any fans. And this time, obviously, fans will be there. So Anthony will be driving up from Brighton as he does every home game. I'll be coming up with Connor and Andrew Wall, who you guys all know from the main account. So we'll all be headed up there as well. So Anthony, let's just start the show off then talking about the upcoming game. What are your thoughts?
I'm looking forward to it. I think I'm confident. I'm always confident when it comes to the women. So when we do have a bit of a down result, it gets to you a bit. It's a bit like when the men's, you always used to think the men's would win all the time. And then when they don't win, you're disappointed because you expect to win. Whereas it's a bit the other way around these days. Oh, God. Sorry about that. My phone's gone off. Sorry, I apologise.
Last week my doorbell went. That was
hopefully she doesn't ring back. I did tell her I was on this, so apologies, people. But no, it's great, and I've got to give credit to United as a whole, like how they've broadcasted it, like all the media stuff and the advertisement and that, doing everything in their right that they can to attract new fans. And it's brilliant, and it's brilliant for the girls. It's great seeing people like Mary Earps on media outside Old Trafford being so happy that her picture is plastered on at the front of Old Trafford, and it's great, and it's what they deserve. It's a long, hard season, and yeah, you do want hopefully they'll impress, and the people that don't normally come to watch will make a trip to Lee more frequent. So I will say to the men's fans, do come and watch the women, because especially now they play some great football, and we have a corner kick taker who can actually score a corner. So
three times in 2 games.
Yeah, in Katie Zellen. So I'm sure she'll try for a cheeky one at Old Trafford. But no, it's great. I've only got good things for them. And I just hope the estimated 25-30K. So it would be brilliant. It's not quite as big as what our game against City at their ground was, but I believe that Everton didn't really do their part of the bargain. They only announced that tickets were on sale about 2-3 weeks ago. So if it was a slightly bigger team, then maybe being United, say Arsenal, it would smash an attendance record. But we'll take 25-30K for the first game at Old Trafford. It's a long way up, and with it being Mother's Day and that, and the clocks going forward, the things you do for the love of your team. So
I mean, you mentioned a few things there, so we'll break it down. I want to talk a little bit about the pictures outside Old Trafford. You mentioned obviously the Etihad. That was 2.5 seasons ago, and there before COVID. Obviously, Man City had bigger opponents. They had us. We had Everton, and Everton's not bringing any fans. And just bringing some men's teams fans across to Leeds Sports Village. So first of all, how Old Trafford looks at the moment, I don't think any club I've seen in the last 3 or 4 years where they've held a game in front of them on the main stadium. I don't think any team has done anything close to this. This is absolutely amazing, and the players have been going there, getting photos. It's a great occasion for them, isn't it, Anthony, to be able to walk into the stadium with massive billboards of themselves?
Yeah, no, it's brilliant, and it's great for them just to be able to rock up to Old Trafford and see, because it's not just that for them. Like, the amount of fans that come to Old Trafford, even on a non-match day, like you got the stadium tour and that, and you got the touristy lot, and for them to see that, it just must be so good for them. They're like really proud, and I just hope the occasion doesn't get to them, which it shouldn't do. They've played international football in front of fans before. They've played on bigger pitches, so hopefully fitness won't be a question, even though we have doubted their fitness occasionally. But hopefully when they get there, they're like it is at Lee, where it's just another game, rock up, get the 3 points and just enjoy it.
Yeah.
Because we had that game at Wembley, didn't we, a couple of years back, where all the build up for England and against Germany, and it didn't go so well for England that day. But obviously going to be a lot different this time. We know how much they love the fans. They can't mention it enough, can they? I almost think sometimes they don't ask the question anymore, do they? They sort of have to sneak it in themselves, especially with Mark's interviews. They always used to ask them about the fans, but now you don't get that question, because like they just know what we are, and we're a passion. But there might not be as many as the men's side, but we're a passionate bunch.
Well,
obviously, the men's side will know that, I'm sure, and I'm just another loony, passionate.
Anthony, I don't know if you saw the show that we did on Monday with Willie Kirk. Willie Kirk's a former Everton manager. He used to be the assistant manager of Man United women's team, and he called the Man United fans partisans, the way that we are. So I thought that was quite interesting take on it. But yeah, you also mentioned about the net of fans is going to be there. I think up until about 2 or 3 weeks ago, it was rumored to be less than 10,000, but I think it was always projected to be between 20 and 25. This is going to be obviously a massive game for the girls. I think they'll be absolutely fine. I think I don't think the occasion will get to them. I think they'll be professional on the pitch. They've had the fun already, and they're going to have some more fun Friday and Saturday as well. I think that Sunday will be game day. But more than anything, we need some of these fans to come there, enjoy the game, and then think to themselves, right, half an hour away at Leeds Sports Village, we can start going back there, can't we? And I really hope that's the case. The Leeds Sports Village holds 12,000 people. We get just over about 2,000 per home game, a little bit more if we're against like a bigger club. But we really need them fans to start coming across, don't we?
Definitely, and they can't use the excuse that it's too awkward to get there, because there's people like me and you, John, that travel an hour and a half to 4 hours to watch. So if you don't have a car, it is a bit more awkward with the bus transport. But if they got that many people going, then who knows, they could do buses from Old Trafford if they actually got that many fans. It'd be great to sell Lee, but about the actual game, what are you expecting? Are you expecting to change the way we play? Do you think he'll utilise the width with it being a big pitch? And we know Leah and Kirsty Hansen, if Kirsty starts in that, you want them to use the space, create the gaps.
Yeah. I'm not too sure if Kirsty's actually going to be fit to play, but I think with Leah Galton on that left-hand side, she will definitely be hugging that touchline. We know that. Whoever plays on the right wing, whether it be Tooney or centre midfielder out there, that'll be generating that width. Even if they're not like natural wingers, like running down the actual touchline, they will be spreading the play. There's going to be lots of gaps, and this is going to be a game where the best team should come out on top, because the amount of space that they'll have, they should be able to pick these passes really well. And if we're on form, we should be able to hammer this team, 4-5-0. And would it be great, Anthony, that some fans who probably never watched our team play before actually see us win 3-4-5-0. And that might be a reason why we're playing Everton, and not, why United didn't choose to put Arsenal, City and Chelsea here, because we stand more of a chance of winning Everton. So it'll be great for the fans to not only turn up to Old Trafford to see the women's team, but to also see us win, and win convincingly.
Yeah, because it's not every day we win at Old Trafford these days, is it? Unfortunately. But no, there's some important players in our midfield, and I think it will be one in the midfield. You like to think Maria's back from illness now, so Selim will slot back into midfield.
Yeah.
I like to think Selim likes to dictate the play. It should be a field day for someone with Selim's passing ability. So I expect her to create a lot of chances. She's quite intelligent thinker as well, isn't she? She's not afraid to take risks.
Yeah.
We have said the only time she can get a bit carried away and casual, but majority of the time she's on it. Selim is obviously our captain.
Mm-hmm.
She's
doing really well. She's
doing really well this season, but for some reason or not, previously, start of the season, every team seems to have a scapegoat, and for some reason our captain had been that, but her performance is speaking for herself this year. She's, I think, had about 7 assists, 6 goals, 3 of them goals being straight from a corner. So, yeah, I know the keepers aren't as tall in the women's game as in the men's, but you still got to have that pinpoint accuracy to swing it into that back post for it to even have a chance of going in. So, and you can't say it's a fluke because it happened 3 times in 2 games.
Yeah.
But that's selling for you. But this Skinner's style of play, it's a bit more known to be a bit more bunched in the middle. But do you think it changes because of where we're playing, or think he won't want to change too much?
I actually think it's going to play into our hands a bit more, because sometimes we can get crowded out in that midfield. Whereas if we spread the ball a bit more, we can still keep the same style of play, but there'll be more gaps, so it's going to be easier for us. I think we only really play through the middle. We still use width, but we just don't use actual out-and-out wingers anymore. So we like this one-touch passing, two-touch passing with triangles, all this kind of stuff, and it's working really well. We rely on our fullbacks to get forward to provide the width and play inverted wingers. So the likes of Leah Galton on the left, I've mentioned her already. For anyone who doesn't know much about our players, Leah Galton is on the left-hand side. She'll be more cutting in as opposed to using the width. That's what she usually does. With the likes of Anabache as a fullback behind her, overlapping. On the opposite side, we've seen Tooney out wide, we've seen Russo out wide, or we've seen Martha Thomas out wide. So again, they like to run at the goal. They like to come in and bring the centre-backs out of position, which will force either Kirsty Smith, who I think might still be injured, or so Hannah Blundell will probably come in as that fullback, giving that width as well. So I think the way that we play, I think everything that Skinner's taught them since being in this season. I think this is a perfect game to actually bring that to fruition, because the amount of space that we'll have on that pitch against less quality kind of players, I think it's going to be. We're going to create so many chances, aren't we? And I want to see these chances, but I don't want to try and see us walk it in the net. I want to see us take shots outside the box. We want to see chances. I think a couple of games ago we had something like 16 attempts. I think the game against West Ham where we drew, we had like about 9 attempts. I want to see more and more attempts. Let's have some fun here. It's at Old Trafford. We all know everyone's going to be up for it. Just get the ball on target. Just go for it. What are your thoughts on that, Anthony?
Yeah, no, I agree with you. We'll definitely have some players like Ella Toon who won't be afraid to shoot. And 9 times out of 10, her shooting is better than her song singing for it, because she was asked to sing it and she totally mucked it up. But
you want to give it a go, Anthony?
Yeah, should we give it one just in case you're watching, Ella? It's I like it, I like it, I like it, I like it, I la 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 like it, la 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 like. Here we go. Toonie and let's see go. Yeah.
So if anyone
who missed it, she was asked to sing it, but at the end she, instead of saying Toonie and Leslie Russo, she went to say Leslie Russo and Toonie, and she realised she mucked it up. But
yeah. But how good has our number 7 been? So Ella Toon, obviously our number 7. She's been our number 7 since day dot.
OG 21, original 21.
Yeah, come through the academy. Obviously left because it was our first team, so she had to move away. And then when our team got reformed, that she came back. What are your thoughts on how well Tooney's done?
She's done amazing in the last 2-3 years. From being quite shy, and she was never the first. She was never guaranteed to start. Really, never really in the manager's first name on the sheet, because she's up there as one of them now. Tooney's just grown so much, and it's shown. She's in the England squad now, and that, which is brilliant for her. She's getting her goals, assists. She's intelligent. So, and I would say, we lost Lauren James last season to Chelsea, but we've not missed her, have we? Because Ella Toon's just got better. She's constantly fit, whereas Lauren James had a bit of a knock and her fitness was a bit of a doubt. Half the time, she did have oozes of quality, but Ella does as well. Earlier in the season, I think Bruno Fernandes scored a goal, and then that weekend, Ella pretty much did the same. Anything you can do, Bruno, I can do better. I can't remember who that was against. I think it could have been. I can't remember who it was against now, but it was that type of goal, and she's just brilliant, and she's still only 21, I believe, 21, 22. So we, as a whole, our team, we've got we're trying to develop the youngsters. We haven't gone in like City may have done, where they've sort of bought their players in. We're being a bit more patient with it, and as they get older and better, and that hopefully it will reap the rewards. It's not just the main women's team, the devs and that are doing great. They won a cup a couple of weeks back, so that it was great for them. But that's that. We'll discuss the starting 11 now. So, are you expecting many changes to what we had against West Ham with the injuries? I personally can't see many changes.
Mm-hmm. I think just so the people watching kind of have an idea on who our players actually are and who to look out for there as well. Our goalkeeper has to be Mary Earps. She's been our number one all season. Played so well, and she's had competition this season. You know, we signed Sophie Bagley.
She wasn't in goal for our best win of the season either.
Good point. Yeah, but yeah, Mary's definitely got to start between the sticks, and you would have probably seen a bit of her talking to David De Gea, wasn't she, at the start, halfway through the week? So so you might have seen that on Twitter. Fullbacks we mentioned earlier, I think Onabache and Hannah Blundell will be the fullbacks, and then with Maria coming back,
it will be Maria and Diane. Usually it would be Millie Turner and Aoife Mannion, but unfortunately, Aoife Mannion's done her ACL, and Millie Turner has a ongoing injury with her neck. That's all we know. So we don't have a time frame on either of them players to come back, unfortunately. But them two that I've just mentioned normally are our first choice centre-back pairing. But fair play to Maria and Diane, who was our new January signing. They've been brilliant. They've not really made a mistake, especially Diane. She's been solid, and she's another Man United through and through girl who comes from Ireland. So that's what we want in our team. We want that passionate love for the team that just do anything to get that win. So that will be the back four. I agree with the injury to Kirsty Smith, and we've got Martha Harris, who can also play on the right, but she's very much a part player. But
you mentioned Diane being through and through Man United. Obviously, we've got another Man United fan in the centre midfield, Jackie Gronin. Do you think she is going to start at Old Trafford? She has to, doesn't she? If she's fully fit,
she will. I just hope she has the confidence to shoot, because I don't know what it is lately, but you think shoot, you're in an easier position, and she seems to like. I don't know if it's a mind thing now, or if she's been told not to shoot or something, because she did used to have a load of chances, but unfortunately she can never score until she goes to Holland and then bang her in. So if there's a perfect time for her to get her first goal for United, it would be. And I think a few of us would try and get on the pitch.
If
Jackie scores.
That's right, yeah. So how about the rest of the midfielders? Then you mentioned Katie Zellum, our captain. Surely he's got
Zellum's the first name on the manager's list. And it just shows when Skinner came in, he could have had his idea and changed captain, but he stuck with Zellum. So that shows you how much Skinner does rate Zellum as a player, and not just as a player, but as a person, a leader. Mm-hmm. So it will be Zellum. I did message her saying I'm on a podcast. It's annoying.
No, I've just had the same. I've had one, not the same person, but I've had someone who's called me as well.
Yeah.
So that leaves one more midfielder, Anthony. Hayley Ladd is back in contention. She's back on injury at least.
She could, but knowing Mark, he likes to slowly bring them back in, and with it being a hamstring, I don't think he'll rush her back. Then you've got Jade Moore. She did get some minutes against West Ham, so maybe she could be in contention. And if she did start, that would be brilliant because she's like another Hayley Ladd type of player, breaks up the play, isn't afraid to do, what do we call it, shithousery stuff, which sometimes as a team we have lacked, being too nicey, not getting in people's faces. And we want them to have that passion and show that passion. So now it would be great if Jade Moore did play, but then sometimes we have Tooney, don't we, there, who we've discussed. And then on the right, like we've discussed, Ella Toon's played out there, Russo's played there, Martha Thomas has played there. They all bring something different to that right. Russo's a bit more of a take on the defender type of player. Martha is very good at holding the ball up, good in the air.
One player we haven't mentioned yet was one of our signings last summer, who's a big fan favourite, Vilde Balvisa from Norway. Done really good. Started off the season a little bit slow. Obviously, she's come to a new country, but she's an international player, done really well in a previous club. And she's definitely, come October, November time, she's hit the ground running. Could it be a case of we don't really need a CDM type of role, and maybe do we need to leave out Hayley Ladd or Jade Moore and just play more attacking and creative mind players and put Balvisa in there as well?
Yeah, no, that is an option. Unfortunately for Balvisa, he doesn't seem to do that. He did do it against West Ham, and I thought she was one of our better players that day. I thought she shouldn't have come off, but he has his ideas. So unfortunately, she was taken off. But when she is called upon, she's brilliant. She's getting up to the standards of the WSL now. It's a bit more tougher and quicker tempo than what Norway would be. So, and he has mentioned that before, that it's the physicality, why he was slowly weaning her in. But when she has been called upon, she's been brilliant. She's created goals. She's scored some goals as well. And I think she's very unlucky that we've got a talented midfield, because you're getting the likes of, you're still forgetting the likes of Lucy Stansforth, who's another player who's injured, unfortunately. We've got a few injuries out of midfield, but it shows where the depth in the midfield is probably our hardest position to get in now. Whereas last year, the year before, it was slightly something we lacked on. Like when Hayley Ladd was out, it was a bit of a disaster because it's proven we let less goals in when Hayley Ladd plays. Mm-hmm. And now we've got Jade Moore. We've got two of them, which is only bad news for the opposition. But with that's the midfield pretty much. Strikers now, we got Martha Thomas, who we discussed about midfield. Her main position is a striker. Same with Alessia Russo. Her best positions, I would say, is a number 9. She's great in the air, great with her feet, not afraid to take on defenders. Definitely one to watch out. And at 23, she will only get better. She come over from America a couple of seasons back. Unfortunately, last year, her season got cut short, but she started on fire. But we didn't see much of her after October because, unfortunately, she had some niggling knee injury. But this year, she's been back and been fully fit and been banging them in. And she's definitely one of our star strikers, if not the star striker. And that's another one that's proven it, being in the England squad. And it might have been Latvia who, if you think of San Marino, think of San Marino times 2 or 3 worse. She scored a hat-trick within like 10 minutes of coming on. So she knows where the goal is. And then we've got this new signing in January, Sina Brun, Danish international. She beat Pernilla Harder of Chelsea to Danish Player of the Year. So that's it's great because Pernilla Harder is one of the best in the world. So to beat her is an achievement in itself. Unfortunately, she's had a bit of a start. She played a few games and then got an injury. So it has been a bit of a hard start because we did basically have Arsenal, Chelsea, and then I think City, and then she got injured. So it's been hard for her to start banging them in. But I have every faith and hope. I believe she's back this week, so hopefully we'll see her in the squad. What are your thoughts on the strikers and what they bring?
I agree that Sydney will probably start on the bench, as you mentioned earlier, with Highland coming back gradually after an injury. I think we don't need to rush anybody into this game. We got enough players who can play. So starting front three for me would probably be Russo, Galton, and probably going to be Martha Thomas because she's had quite a bit of game time. Now I don't know who's going to go out wide or who's going to go down the centre because I think they'll just fluctuate a little bit. But I think the 11 players that we've kind of named there for our starting 11, they're well worthy, aren't they? And then we've obviously got game changes on the bench, so we haven't really spoke about like Ivana Fuso, who's usually one of our first choice players off the bench. If Phil de Barvisa doesn't start, she'll come off the bench. We've got players there. We've got a young Carrie Jones, I think she's back, so she could come on and make an impact. And how good would it be for one of our youngsters to come through our academy and get onto the Old Trafford pitch as well? So we've got players up there who could actually change the game as well. I'm really looking forward to it. Before we start actually giving our predictions for this game and the upcoming games, let's just go through the league table just so everyone can kind of see where United Women's team actually are. So they are third in the league now. To make Champions League spot, you need to finish third. So we're there just about. The same amount of games as our rivals, Man City. 2 goals ahead on goal average. Like I say, equal amount of games. The problem that we've got, as a lot of the fan base know, is that our last game of the season is against Chelsea, and Chelsea are arguably the best team in the league at the moment, and that's away from home as well. So we need to continue to win every game now until that last game of the season. Hopefully Man City will slip up along the way. If not, then it's going to be in our hands, but we have to win away against arguably the best team in the league. What are your thoughts on our league position, Anthony?
You say it's in our hands, but is it? For some reason, we seem to lack the consistency of scoring high when we should. Like the Reading game, for example, we only won that 1-3-1. We should have won about 6-7-1. There's other examples where we should have won 4s and 5s, but we only won 2-0. Whereas City, unfortunately, they once they got 1, they get 2, 3, 4. Last night, it looked like they were going to win 2-0, and then they scored 2 in 2 minutes. So I don't want to be negative, but it's horrible to say. I do think City have actually got the advantage, unfortunately. But who knows as well? City had a lot of injuries, didn't they, at the start of the season? So if it wasn't for that, we're just grateful to be in contention, because if that wasn't the case, we possibly could just be playing for 4th now, couldn't we? If City didn't have all them injuries, they obviously got dealt a very hard start to the season with all them. But like I said on our sister station, we just need to go one game at a time, but we do need to start scoring.
Yeah,
we tend to have these periods where we're on top, score 2 or 3, but we don't do it throughout the whole 90 minutes. And it's always been a problem with United, not just under Skinner, but with our previous manager, Casey Stoney. We didn't score, didn't thrash teams. Bristol City is one that comes to mind. But other than that, we're never one of these teams that completely run away with it. Mm-hmm. But then you can look at some of the results this year and think the WS is getting tougher, because we have had games where we previously beaten Leicester 11-1. Arsenal have won like 11-0.
Yeah.
We've not had any of them this year. I think, are we looking at 6 is probably the highest this year? If don't quote me on that, but I think 6 is the most. But we still definitely need to be taking advantage of that. But what about you? Do you think we are still in our hands slightly? Just
it is in our hands, but like you say, I thoroughly agree. We have to win by goals now. We can't just win 2 or 3-0, and it's a shame, because usually we would turn around and say, well, look, if we win every game, we'll finish in a good position. But as you say, City are just putting teams to the sword, aren't they? And we saw where we dropped points a couple of weeks ago against West Ham. Other teams may have seen that 1-0 out. Instead, we end up conceding a last-minute goal, and then it went 1-1. So,
it's been our Achilles heel.
Yeah, it has. So I think that we can go in and win every game, even the last game of the season. If we know that if we win it, I think it's going to be like a cup final. Anything can happen. It really can. But I'd hate to be just missing out on goal average. So these are the games where we need to, score some goals. Which kind of brings us on to a bit of a prediction, Anthony. So for this game, I'm going to go for it. So I'm going to say 4-0. I think we'll keep a clean sheet. With Diane and Thor at the centre backs. Everton not on the best of form. I know they've gradually got better throughout the season, but still fairly low down the table. I can't really see them scoring, especially at Old Trafford. And I think we'll be really up for it. So I'm going to go for 4-0. How about yourself?
I agree with you. I can't see them scoring, but I've gone slightly more cautious. I just don't see us putting goals. I want it to be 4-5-0, but I'm from a prediction point of view, I've only gone for 2-0. I think it'll be another 2-0 win. I think we'll have too much for them. The big pitch will help us. It's just we need to work the ball, make them more tired, because we don't want to be doing the chasing, because we'll struggle with fitness otherwise. We've seen it we saw it against West Ham. You could see some of them were a bit blown out, but a win's a win. But as much as I'd like to say, I'm going to go for Man United to win 6-0, I'm just going for a 2-0 win. But that brings the worry, because City are playing bottom of the league, Birmingham, which we will briefly discuss.
Yeah. Well, let's go on to the rest of the league table then, just so a few fans can kind of listen to who are the best teams, who aren't. So basically, me and Anthony, or Anthony and somebody, does a bit of a weekly prediction. So is it something like 5 points for the correct score line, 3 points?
Yeah, it's 2 points for a correct. It's a bit like Super 6.
Yeah. So
from last week, it was about Super 9.
There was quite a few games last week, yeah. So I think Anthony's winning quite convincingly throughout the course of the season. So yeah, let's just run through last week's games, and then obviously the upcoming games. We've got about another 15 minutes left, so we can talk about the other clubs as well now.
Yeah, no. So we started with Reading v Man United. Man United won 3-0. Everton played Leicester, and Everton won 3-2. Spurs played City, and unfortunately City won 1-0. Chelsea beat Villa 1-0, which was slightly a surprise, because Chelsea, as John said, even though they're not top of the league, they probably are the best team in the WSL. Birmingham lost to West Ham 1-0. Birmingham are pretty much gone for. There's only one team that goes down in the WSL, but with 5 games remaining, they are 8 points behind Leicester, and they're playing City this week. So miracles do happen, but that would be a miracle times 10. Then we go on to Brighton, who played Arsenal. Arsenal won 3-0. Then, unfortunately, midweek, West Ham scored a 93rd minute equaliser against us, Man United, and it's not the first time it's happened this season. It happened against Tottenham. We had a game at Everton where we threw it away with a silly goal. So if we do not get top 3, we will rue them games. Everton then did score some goals against Chelsea, which was 3-0. Chelsea beat Everton. Then Man City won 2-0 against Reading. And then the other day, Wednesday night, Man City put 4 past Everton 4-0. Now, we did get a scoreline correct each. John, you predicted 3-0 Arsenal against Brighton. I got the Chelsea score right against Everton, so we got 5 points for that. But we both predicted West Ham to beat Man United to beat West Ham. Fortunately for me, that was the only game that let me down from getting a full house of points on every game, whereas you went for a Leicester draw. Mm-hmm. So I did beat you by 2 points, and it was very high scoring week because of the amount of games we had. Obviously, there would have been another game, but Tottenham got called off due to COVID in the camp with Spurs. So it was 21-19, and after 17 rounds, I'm leading 165-137. So it's looking like Birmingham City for you at the moment, mate. But that was the last round of results and catch up because of COVID postponements and that. So we will briefly go into this weekend's fixtures, and I'm going to start with Aston Villa Reading. They both play on a Saturday. It's 10th v 7th. It's at Villa. Reading were until about 2-3 weeks ago on an unbeaten run since October the 3rd, and they are they normally are a tough team to break down. They did lose a few experienced players last season. They lost Farrell Williams, obviously retired. Agrid James went to America. Jade Moore is a former Reading player, but she was in America before we got her from America, so that was a couple of years back. So they did lose quite a bit of experience, and sometimes it does show, but they were getting the wins. Villa, when we discussed at the beginning of the season about predictions, Villa were one of the teams that would be battling for safety, and due to a couple of teams being worse than them, it will be safe. Carla Ward will be happy with what they've done, but they will want to build on from that. As things go, I think with it being at Villa, it will be a tough game. What do you think, John, quickly, before we go into predictions?
Yeah. I think this could be a game where Villa can actually start getting back on track. You have a look at that league table, and gradually throughout the season, Villa's just kept on dropping, and it could end up that they're like one from bottom at the end of the season, which would be a shame because I think I'll be harsh on Villa. So I would like to think that they can get another win or two before the end of the season and just make sure that they're not in that bottom 2, because I think that would just be a bit unfair, even though fair play to Leicester, who are currently 11th. They've had a good a good run since Christmas time to, get some points on the board. Reading is just one of those inconsistent teams. You just don't know if what team's going to turn up, much like Brighton, just that kind of middle of the table kind of club. But I'm fancying Villa to hopefully now pick up a point at least on this one.
Okay, so prediction?
Yeah, I'm going to go for 1-1 in this one.
Ooh. Telepathic.
Oh, okay.
I've gone for 1-1 as well.
Yeah.
Like you said, Reading are a funny side. And even though they're playing away from home, I just think this game's got a draw written all over it. On the day, Reading can be brilliant. Mm-hmm. When they're not brilliant, they are quite bad. Like, they played Brighton a few weeks back and got thrashed, and it could have been quite more. But normally with Reading, they're normally close games. Villa, they don't score enough. And this is the reason why I've gone 1-1 in that game. So now we will move on to the North London derby. Now, Arsenal Spurs, it's another game in a men's stadium. It's at the Emirates. They'll be hoping to have more attendance than they did Wednesday night when only 5,000 turned up for a Champions League quarter-final that they drew 1-1. This is obviously COVID dependent. If Spurs have still got COVID in the camp and it's deemed that they haven't got enough squad, this potentially could be off.
Yeah.
But Spurs are one of these teams who I think they will be happy with how their season's gone. That they've been battling between us, City, and even Reading and Brighton at some points for third. Arsenal, they and Chelsea are the two battling out for the WSL title. Chelsea are probably slight favourites now, even though Arsenal are first, but they are playing catch-up Chelsea, but they're not far behind. I believe if they do win their game in hand, they do go above Arsenal. So for me, I expect Arsenal to win. Things do happen. Last time out, Arsenal scraped to draw against Spurs. That Spurs, if I remember right, Miedemeier scored like a 90th minute equaliser. Spurs' goalkeeper at the time had a blinder of a game. But Spurs are another team. They're quite good defensively, but they just don't score enough either. What are your views, Arsenal Spurs?
Yeah, I think this should have been the week where Spurs' Champions League hopes should have gone crashing. To be fair, they should have lost. Obviously, they haven't played because of COVID. They should be losing against Arsenal. We should be winning against Everton. You'd like to think that this would be the week where we can kind of put all these Spurs predictions to bed, and that they won't be in that top three. And if the game does go ahead, which obviously I hope it does, I do think Arsenal will turn them over. Not massively. I don't think it'll be a high-scoring game. We know Tottenham have battled really well this season, and they deserve to be where they are. But I do think against these top clubs, this is going to be the test for them. So I can see a 2-0 Arsenal win. And I think that could potentially be it then for Tottenham. I know they got a game in hand, but as you mentioned, they've got some tough games coming up. So I think if Tottenham lose this weekend, we win against Everton, that's Spurs out to it, and then it really is just down to the two Manchester clubs for that top three spot.
Yeah, no, I fully agree with you. I think Arsenal just have too much. They'll be hoping for a bigger crowd, like I've said. But Arsenal on their day have got enough quality for everyone. So I'm going for 3-1 Arsenal. I do think Spurs will get a goal because Arsenal, they're not always great from set pieces. So I fancy Spurs to nick one, but I think Arsenal's quality will show. So I've gone for 3-1. We'll move on to Man City Birmingham now. Now, Man City, as we've said, are battling United for top 3. Birmingham are pretty much all but down. Stranger results have happened. Earlier in the season, Arsenal played Birmingham and lost 2-0. Now, that is Birmingham's only win of the season. And as us United fans, we really could do with them having an Arsenal inspired display again and pulling off a shock. Do we see it happening, John? I don't think we can personally. I just think it's a case of how many.
Yeah, it is. And it's a shame. And, we've seen Birmingham do well against Arsenal, but, Birmingham are bottom for a reason. City are pushing for the top 3 for a reason. You'd like to think that, I love Birmingham to be able to do something. I really would. And they're fighting for lives down there, but City are fighting for Champions League spot. This is massive for City. This could make or break them. If they lose this weekend, then it puts it back in United's hands. But if they win and just do the best of their ability, they will be in the driving seat, because they could potentially score more against Birmingham than we will against Everton. And we mentioned goal average earlier. So for me, I'm going to go for a convincing City win, and it's going to be quite a few goals as well. I think we might win 4-0, so I think they might win something like 5-0.
Fair enough. Well, I've gone for 4-0.
Yeah.
They with City, they have periods where they're really on it. Normally, they're better in one half than the other. I like to call them second half City. But yesterday, they scored a couple, then didn't score, and then scored a couple a minute after each other. So I just think, like I've said, and you agree, it's just how many, not. Leicester-Chelsea now. It is at the King Power Stadium. Leicester do play at the men's stadium, which is great for them. But they are playing Chelsea, who are probably the WSL title favourites now. For me, Leicester did make it hard last time at Kings Meadow, and I believe it was only 1-0 late on, or it could have been 2-0, but they were both in the last 10 minutes. So Leicester were very hard done by. That was in the league, of course. In the FA Cup they played, and Chelsea won about 7-0. Leicester had a player wrongly sent off. If you think the refs are bad in the Premier League, come over to the WSL, because you're in for a treat. But for me, another one winner, Chelsea for me. I've gone for 3-0. I don't know if that's me being generous to Chelsea, because sometimes you think they are going to score loads and then they just scrape it. What about you, John?
Yeah, I'm very similar. I think if there is going to be a shock, this could potentially be it's more than the Birmingham game. But no, Chelsea got so much to play for. The quality of the whole squad is immense. I can see them creating so many chances. Them bound to put a couple of 3 away, so I can't see them conceding. So yeah, for me, it's definitely a Chelsea win. I think this is one that I'm going to agree with you on this one. So I'm going to agree with you and say 3-0 Chelsea on this one. Yeah, and that puts the pressure on Arsenal.
Definitely, yeah, exactly. I'm not sure what the goal difference is with them, but it definitely puts the pressure on Arsenal. Then the last game of the weekend is West Ham Brighton. Two funny sides, two sides that will battle. West Ham won't ever give up. We saw that against United. We saw that against Spurs when they were playing with 10 players for the majority, quite a lot, about an hour, and they managed to get a last-minute equaliser. So West Ham will never give up. Brighton, as John mentioned, inconsistent is their name. Mm-hmm. Sometimes they're brilliant, win convincingly, pull off shocks, which they have done against Chelsea. And then sometimes they're just awful. You think, oh, they'll win that game or that. And then all goes to pot. Obviously, Brighton have a former England women's manager from before the WSL days, I believe, in Hope Powell. So they have got, she's done an all right job, I think, personally. Obviously, with me being down here, I have seen them a few times when United haven't had a game or have not been able to make it. And last time I did see them out, they did win 4-1 against Reading. So it'll be a close game, but I do think there will be a winner in here. What about you, John?
I think on paper he's just got a draw written all over it, really. But you're saying there could be a winner. I think it could be. It's 2 out of 3 chances, isn't it? Really, it's either going to be a draw, away win, or a home win.
Mention the obvious.
Yeah, and that's the thing, isn't it? It's 2 points between them in the league. Neither team have really got a lot to play for in the nicest way possible. They're not going to get too much difference in prize money if they finish 5th, 6th, 7th, or 8th, or
6th, 8th.
Yeah, so it's I'm going to go for another draw here. It could quite easily be a 2-1 either way. I don't think any team's going to run away with it, so I was going to go with a 1-1 here.
Interesting, because you mentioned it could be a 2-1, and that's what I've gone for. I think with home advantage, I think West Ham are going to win 2-1.
Okay.
Yeah, they're quite hard. They can be quite hard to break down. But it all depends on the day, doesn't it? If these teams need to be in form. If Brighton don't turn up, they could lose more than 2-1. But I'm going for 2-1. So we will see how the week plans out, on which hopefully should be a great weekend.
Yeah. Well, speaking about how the week's going to plan out, if I can just quickly spend a minute talking about the rest of the shows for the weekend. Then I'll leave you just to say goodbye, Anthony. Friday night, so obviously later today, we'll be streaming the Fans Forum on the women's account and maybe even on this account as well, on the men's channel, on the main account. So that's something for you to look out for. So Connor will be on there. So you'll know Connor from talk about the men's team. Saturday night, we're hoping to get another pre-recorded show at midday. That'll be with myself, Andrew Wall and Connor. That'll go out onto this main channel as well. And the Saturday Night Live that we do every week on the women's channel will go out across both channels as well. So, keep your eye open for more Old Trafford content on our Twitter as well. So if you don't follow us or subscribe to us on there, you're scrolling along the bottom of the screen, All for United WFC, Women's Football Chat. And, so if you are brand new to women's football and Man United women's team, check us out.
Thanks for joining us, John. That wraps up the show. My Twitter username is on the screen, ATC Wilson. So give us a follow if you want, and I'll follow you back. I know it's Mother's Day on Sunday, but if you are around and that, tickets are still available. So it would be great if you could come and give the girls the support that they deserve. But hopefully we'll see you again soon, and have a great afternoon, and thanks for listening.